Hi, everybody. All right. So, welcome to the new user webinar. I'm Matt. I'm one of the teacher co-founders. My day job is, in addition to helping everybody out with great, awesome lessons, I'm the STEM coordinator at a charter school, also, and tech director. So, tonight, what we're going to be doing for these new user webinars, what I like to do is set them up as something, make it a little bit more interactive. I'm going to have all of you guys join me as a student in my class. So, you can go through that experience. And then we'll be, I'll show you how to switch back to a teacher later on, but then you can go through the whole process and then you can see what it's like for me creating as a teacher and then what you can expect to see as a teacher. And I'll throw in a couple of different things. It's going to go pretty quick. So we'll have lots of time at the end for any kind of questions you have. I'm going to start off by sharing my screen. There we go. All right, there's the screen within the screen. Okay, so here's kind of what I see on my end. I've got the video right there. But then also over on, I'll see the chat right here. So if you've got questions, go ahead and add in some questions right there. But for right now, what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and just create a lesson. So what I'm going to have all of you do is switch to being a student, and I'm going to be a teacher. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a class. Well, actually, I've got an existing class. So go over to classes, and I'll create a class for tonight. All right, so it's the 18th. So demo class for the 18th. All right, and then I'm going to create that. All right, so that class now automatically gets a unique code right here. So what you can do is you can then present that to the front of your class, or email it to your students, put it in your LMS, or if you use Google Classroom, you can import directly from Classroom. When you first create that class, you can import your class roster from right there. So it's pretty simple. All right, but what I'm going to have you guys do is just join my class. I'm going to have you switch to being a teacher. So head to your Insert Learning dashboard. You can do that by opening up a new tab and then clicking the extension, or just going to our website and clicking Sign In. So click on the new user on your dashboard profile and then switch to student. From there, what you can do is then click on the plus and then you're going to enter in the code. So I'm going to go over and I'm going to paste that code in here. And now you'll be able to join my class. All right, so I'm going to hit cancel. You can't be a student in your own class. That's one thing I should know. All right, so I'm going to switch back to now being a teacher. And I'm going to be able to start seeing now as more and more people start signing in, you guys will pop up under my list of students from right there. All right, so we got that right now. And again, if you've got any questions, go ahead and add something in right there. Then I'll see that and I'll try and give you guys some feedback. In the last webinar, other people were helping each other out with it. So it's pretty awesome. All right. So this month, excuse me, this month is Women's History Month. So we got a lesson challenge that's being sponsored by Adafruit. You can find out more about it in our Help Center. We've been sending out emails. But actually, I'm going to head over to our Help Center right now because I'm going to find a link from there. So I'm going to go to the Help Center. And we've got it down here in, actually, if we just search for Women's History Month challenge. We've been putting in a bunch of different links, different sources, find different articles, use Insert Learning for these different story challenge or lesson challenges. And I'm going to go with, I should really like the StoryCorps one. All right, so I'm going to open that up. And let's see. I'm not quite sure what to do with these stories. Okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do, yeah, Smithsonian. Okay, so then women scientists. I'm a science teacher, so that's always an easy one for me. All right. And let's see here. All right. We'll go with that one. Okay, so we got a scientist. And what I'm going to do now, all right, so I'm going to use this article, the scientist profile. I'm going to load in the Insert Learning extension. So I click on that, and then my toolbar pops up on the left-hand side. Now, before we get real far, I'm going to simply click on the sticky note. I'm going to add in a little note up here. Before I get farther, though, I'm going to assign this lesson out to our class. All right, so it's a demo class for the 18th. So I've clicked that now. So now what you should see is, as a student, when you now take a look at your dashboard, because each student has their own dashboard also, you'll see on lessons now, you should then see this lesson show up on there. You'll see the name of the class that it's for. And then what you can do is you can just click on that, and that's going to take you to the lesson itself. So that's on this one. So I'm going to reload this lesson. You have to reload it the first time when you create the lesson before it starts to sync up live. All right, so I'm going to load our extension again. And now what we can do is now we can start making this thing interactive. So I always like to start off by adding instructions. So let me explain a couple of how these things work. So this is the highlighter tool. This lets you then go through and then kind of highlight different things. So then we could have like, right, so we could do BA. Maybe our students don't know what a BA is. So I'm going to click on that, click on the little comment button. There we go. So now students can click on that, and now they can see what that is. So you can add in little definitions or notes. Students can do the same thing as they're going along. This sticky note is kind of like when you want to start adding in content. So you notice I added instructions before. And the way that the sticky note and questions and discussions work is that they attach to paragraphs, and sometimes they attach to images also. So it looks like here we can attach it to this information over here. Now for this specific website, I'm not able to add it here. So I can't add it there. So I'm going to add it to this one right here. So I'm going to add in my instructions. And I want my students, you guys, to be highlighting, highlight three things you found interesting. You found interesting. Add one question at the end. All right, so I've got very simple instructions. What's great about this is that it doesn't matter where I assigned the lesson. My students have already kind of forgotten what to do. So when they go here now, they can see the questions that I've, the instructions for them right there. And I'm going to add in a question also. So I'm going to get down here. I'm going to add in a little question right here. So they started talking about her background here. So I'm going to click on this question button and then click on the paragraph. And so from here, now I'm going to add in a question of how did Dr. Halo's background she does. All right, so that's your question. So it's nice kind of like open text dependent questions. Students will need to read that. It's not something they can really Google search. It'll probably just take them to this page anyways. So now they've got that. So students are going through, they're going to be reading that. Now I'm going to add in a question here. Or I'm going to add another sticky note because I want to kind of break this up a little bit with some video. So I'm going to head over to YouTube. And I'm going to search up what do biologists do. I want to add in some video for this. All right, so this one's SciShow Kids. That one looks good. I'm going to copy the URL for this one. Anything with an embed code works great. So what you can do is you can click on the share, and then you can copy this embed code. Now for YouTube videos, because those are most commonly added, we just simply add it so you can just copy and paste the URL. But any tool that has an embed code like this iframe one, you can actually then insert into your lessons with Insert Learning. So I'm going to head back over to our lesson. And then in the sticky note, this is where you can now add in your own content. So I'm just going to paste the URL. And then there's a video. So the video actually works completely. So now I'm going to add in another discussion. So this one I'm going to add in discussion. Discussions are different than questions. A discussion lets all students see what other students are saying in real time. It's going to be private to just your class. So what is something you find? What's something you want to know more about? Right. So it's kind of like an opinion question. So now students can then start responding to this one in real time on there. I'm going to jump back real quick, see if anybody's got any questions. Not right now. Okay. All right. And again, everybody, if you didn't already, you can join this class. This is designed to kind of be like an interactive real-time thing. So using this class code, you can switch to being a a student by going to your dashboard and then clicking on your profile icon, a student, and then click on the plus to join the class. All right, but I did see we had a question here from Jamie. Is video only for certain subscriptions? I tried to add a video before, but couldn't find the button. No, so the way that we've got it set up, Jamie, is that it's a teacher subscription, has everything, whether you're on the free trial or paid one, or referral, you have all the everything. Now your toolbar should look like this. If you don't have, so the videos get added into these sticky notes. So you do is you click add your sticky note, and then you put your link to a YouTube video, your embed code, or just your own text right there. If you don't see this, if you don't see the question in the discussion one, that means you're set as a student. But you should always see this. So it's that sticky note that lets you then embed the videos in there. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this off with a discussion question. And this one's going to relate back to up here at the beginning when I said, highlight 3 things you found interesting about this article, about the scientist, and add 1 question you have at the end. So I'm going to have like, right, what is 1 thing you'd want to ask the scientist? Now, what I really like about these questions, I just kind of realized, pretty much this whole like approach to creating a lesson, we could pretty much go with the same approach and apply it to any of the scientists that I had on there. So each week we could do a different scientist. It's a very short reading. We've kind of broken it up as they go along. We've got students highlighting. We've got a video in there. So this is something that's going to be engaging the students as they go through, and something that you can easily replicate in just a matter of minutes for multiple lessons. Create them and then save them and then assign them out as you're going along. So there's a couple of other things I'm going to add in, but I'm going to check back here to see if people have questions. Okay, all right, great. I'm glad that answered the question. And then Askia, can the point value for questions be adjusted or taken away? Excellent question. So one thing is, for discussions, you can't assign points to it, but for the questions you can. So if I go back to edit, you can then change the number of points that you want it to be right there. So I can then make it 8 points and then click save. Another thing that you can do too is this is going to be a free response, and I can click view all responses, and then you guys can see of like, all right, so actually for YouTube, if you guys want to go ahead and just start answering questions on there, if you haven't already, your responses will then pop up for me, and then as students start to highlight, you'll see a little new icon right there. And so what I can do is now I can start to enter in a score as people are answering the question. But you can also turn this into a multiple choice question. So I'm going to add in up here, I'll throw in a multiple choice question at the beginning, or a question. So what do... All right. And so instead of free response, I want this to be multiple choice. So what I'll do is I'll type here, multiple choice. Oh, somebody highlighted something. I got a new little icon right there. So I'm going to click on that. And all right, so now I can see my students' annotations. Thank you. And what's cool is that these are going to show up in real time. So instead of like creeping out your students by looking over their shoulder to see what they're highlighting, you can just kind of see them doing this from your computer screen and then go and check in with students if they're not highlighting everything, or if they're highlighting everything, or just simply to reinforce, like, hey, like you did a really great job with highlighting that. You can kind of do that. All right, so we got that. So now what I'm going to do is, for this one, for what biologists do, study life. So as turning in multiple choice, if you click here again, you can now start, if you type into there as a teacher, you turn into multiple choice. So study life, study molecule, chemical reactions, and toothbrush. Or the office. All right. So then as a teacher, now I'm going to do is then I select what is the correct question or the correct answer. And what's really cool is that for this multiple choice one, it's going to track what order you guessed incorrectly. So if everybody wants to go through, select one that's wrong, and you keep going until you get the right one. What's going to happen is it'll automatically adjust your score. All right. So I see that Jamie got it wrong so far. So Jamie, keep going until you get the correct answer. And then Askia, well done. You got it right away. And then what's going to happen, you keep going until you get it right. Oh, and then I closed it too quickly there. So then Jamie, you selected the right one. It automatically adjusts your score based on what's possible. So if you did all multiple choice questions, you've created a self-grading lesson, really. All right, so we've got all this. We can now go through, we can see what students' responses are. So many animals. Like that. I can post then like discussions on there. As the teacher, you have the ability to mute or kind of hide students' responses if they kind of posted something inappropriate that you don't want them to have on there. Then you can kind of do those things. So this is really insert learning in a nutshell. It's very simple, but very powerful in what you can do. I can go through and I can select my other students. Now I can see what they're highlighting as they're going along. And then I can see like the responses to different questions on here as well. All right, so that's from this side. There's a couple other things on here. So one is the Help Center. So as a teacher, as you're creating stuff, what you can do is you can click on Help and Support, and our Help Center is going to pop up here. So we've got a great search thing. Let's see, you're running a workshop. You just running like workshop. We've got materials in for your workshop. We've got a whole bunch of different stuff. So let's go back to it. I want to go back to not having the results. Let's see if like you need to assign your lesson. Click on assign, and you see all the different help articles right there. There's more options is where a lot of the other thing about a lot of the other things kind of exist for the lesson. So here what you can do is you can assign it now to your students. If you use Google Classroom, you can assign it directly from here as well. If you don't use Google Classroom, that's fine. What you'll need to do is you assign the lesson and then copy and paste the URL and add hashtag insert learning at the end, automatically load the extension, or students can just go to their insert learning dashboard and click on the lessons from there. The other things you can do is you can share the lesson with teachers. So this link right there will let teachers view your lesson with no student responses, and then they can copy it. You can then share it out on social media or email it. You can also list it publicly, and I'll show you what that does here by going to our edit lesson info. And so the lesson info, what you can do is you can then change the title. Some websites end up having like all this, like every page has the same title. So it's pretty helpful, right? So then we could have then of like, we can have then scientist, bio. You select your class, you select what grade levels it's going to work for. And we're doing all this because we're going to publicly list this in our library. So we're going to list this in the public library. So by clicking that, and then if I did hashtag women's history month and click save, it's now been published to the public library. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. The last things I'm going to show you then is getting free months. So Insert Learning, it is teacher founded, it is teacher run. We're just running the things. It's a small team of us. So every subscription literally helps us continue running and developing and improving Insert Learning. And then also you can go to your dashboard from here. And this icon right here lets you then also assign it to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to the dashboard. And so this is where all of your lessons live. You can organize them by classes as well. So there's just the only class assigned for there. We've got some example lessons down here and some like quick start things right there. But what I'm super excited about has been growing more and more every day is the public library. And so this is where that lesson that we just created is right there. It says who shared it. So it's got that on there. It's you'll see there's a lot of Italian lessons. We've gotten really big in Italy lately over like the last week, and like people have been creating lessons like crazy. It's fun. So there's a lot of Italian lessons in there. What you can do is you can then either search or you can categorize them, right? So if I just want to find science lessons for like grades 9, 10, 11, and 12, now this is going to show me all of those lessons right here. So now I can see all the lessons that are going to be appropriate for those. What you can do is now if I want to then preview one of them, so I'm going to go down to this one, sciencenews.org. I'll click on it. And then what it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and load that lesson. It's going to let me preview it. So while that's loading right now, I'm going to take a look back here. All right. Yeah, right. It's very helpful. It's like if you're doing like a blended classroom, it's been awesome to be able to kind of like see what it is that students are doing without kind of like bugging them. It's like you get to let them be independent. They get to be independent on the lesson, and you still get to know what they're doing. All right. Also, this one requires a membership, though. Well, you should get a membership to Science News if you don't. All right, here we go. Here's the NASA one. But basically, it then lets you do that. So share out articles to the public library. Really, what you are going to be doing when you do that is you are helping turn the entire internet into an interactive lesson that then teachers we can then find and share them. And so it's really cool. So you go down here, right? So now you can see what they've added in here. So this one's in Italian too. But so it's really cool. I've found a lot of value in looking at other teachers' lessons, even if I'm not going to use it, but just looking at the types of questions that they had. One really cool one that I saw somebody do was they ended the lesson with a discussion of summarize this article with a hashtag. I thought that was just such a cool idea. Of it's like right, like kind of getting students thinking. It's like it's a fun way of summarizing it, anyways, with a hashtag. That idea, but like it really gets them to have to kind of think about that. So it'd be something about this scientist that really stuck out to them, and then that's what they'd be sharing in that discussion. Then, all right, so we are at the end of our 20 minutes here. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen so you guys can see my face here. Are there any kind of questions that people have right now? We've got a whole bunch of other things. Do check out some of our upcoming webinars. We send out a monthly newsletter, or a weekly newsletter, I should say. And what are the other ones that we've got coming up here? So I'm going to head over to our teacher chat. So our upcoming teacher chats. Next week is going to be app smashing for richer learning. So it's going to be, I'm going to be going over a lot of different really neat tools that you can embed into Insert Learning to bring a lot more value to it and really engages your students. After that is going to be then a webinar by other teacher co-founder Karen Hogan. She's a middle school English teacher. She'll be talking about close reading strategies. I should share my screen again so you can see what I'm talking about instead of just me. All right, share my screen again. All right, so app smashing for richer learning, close reading strategies, March 27th. Strategies for the science classroom. We're going to be talking about blending your science labs, bringing in more reading, because as a science teacher, I will admit that I am very guilty of not having my students do very much reading because it seemed really difficult for me to do. I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know where to find good stuff. So we're going to be covering a lot of different topics in that one. I'm excited about that one. And then April 17th, we're going to be doing differentiation accessibility with Universal Designs for Learning with UDL. So this is going to be a great thing that really it's instead of, take a lesson and then try and differentiate it. It's going to be from the beginning. Here is how to make a lesson that is going to be accessible for all of your students and have much greater success for your students as they're going along. And I think for that one, we're going to have a guest speaker as well. All right. So if you've got any more questions, let me know. And the app smashing, I'm really excited. Flipgrid is going to be one of them. Flipgrid's kind of become like the new poster tool for app smashing with Journea. And so we're going to be app smashing Flipgrid into our Insert Learning lesson. And so thank you very much for joining us, everybody. Share your lessons on the public library. Let me know if you have any questions at all. You can always send us a message, matt@insertlearning.com. And have a great evening, everybody.